Grocery stores used to be the safest business in America. No matter how bad the economy got, people still had to eat. But 2026 broke that rule. Inflation gutted margins, theft exploded, wages rose, supply chains destabilized, and customers abandoned traditional supermarkets for dollar stores, warehouse clubs, discount German imports, and online delivery. Now the grocery industry, once boring, stable, and profitable, is entering a wave of collapse nobody thought was possible. Walk into some chains today and you'll see the warning signs: empty shelves, flickering lights, managers running skeleton crews, entire aisles blocked off because they can't afford to restock. These stores aren't restructuring, they're failing, slowly, quietly, and in real time. Here are the top 5 grocery chains that are about to go under before the next recession even finishes forming. 1. Save-A-Lot, the discount grocer. Drowning in debt and deserted stores. Walk into a Save-A-Lot in 2026, and you can feel the collapse before you even reach the sliding doors. If the sliding doors are working. The parking lot is half empty, the signs are faded, and the shopping carts look like they've survived a decade-long war. Inside, the store feels like a snapshot of American decline: dim lights, echoing aisles, and shelves that look more like abstract art than inventory. Save-A-Lot was built to serve working-class families looking for affordability, but now it's serving something else entirely. The visual metaphor for a grocery chain running out of lifelines. Save-A-Lot was once the discount king, the store you went to when Walmart felt expensive and Aldi felt far away. It thrived in blue-collar neighborhoods, rural communities, and towns hollowed out by disappearing factories. But the very consumers who once relied on Save-A-Lot are now fleeing it because even they know the chain feels unstable. When your grocery store looks like it's in survival mode, customers assume it's dying, and Save-A-Lot is proving them right. The shelves tell the whole story, gaps where canned goods should be. Empty freezer sections that stay empty for days. A fresh produce aisle that somehow manages to look both understocked and overripe. Off-brand cereal with dust on the boxes. The chain tried a massive franchising revival to survive, selling off corporate stores to independent operators like it was dumping inventory. But all that did was push the financial risk down the ladder. Now it's franchisees drowning, not corporate executives. And many of them are already underwater. They can't afford labor. They can't afford inventory. They can't afford upgrades. Some can't even afford to keep the lights fully bright. Customers walk in looking for savings and walk out wondering how a grocery store can feel like a pre-evacuation zone. And then there's the competition. Save-A-Lot used to compete with Aldi and lose. Now it competes with Dollar General, Family Dollar, and Walmart Neighborhood Market, and it's losing even faster. Everyone underprices them, everyone outstocks them, everyone outmarkets them. Save-A-Lot's business model is collapsing from all sides. Margins razor thin, customers poorer than ever, franchise owners tapped out, suppliers prioritizing bigger chains, inflation destroying whatever value the store once offered. The decline isn't dramatic. It's slow, quiet, and visible in every aisle. One employee running the register and the entire floor. Cardboard boxes used as displays because real shelving isn't in the budget. Produce that sits too long because foot traffic is down. Entire sections that look abandoned as if the store is slowly unspooling in real time. Save-A-Lot isn't failing because people don't need cheap groceries. It's failing because it can't even deliver cheap groceries anymore. It's become the grocery store equivalent of a flickering streetlight. Still on, but only barely, and nobody trusted enough to walk under it. And just like many towns that now feel forgotten, Save-A-Lot isn't collapsing all at once. It's drying out, hollowing out, fading from relevance aisle by aisle until eventually the lights go out for good. Next, Sprouts Farmers Market, the health food darling that became too expensive for the customers it was built to serve. 2. Sprouts Farmers Market, the healthy grocer. No one can afford anymore. Walk into a Sprouts Farmers Market in 2026, and it feels like you've stepped into a beautifully staged set for a store that should be thriving. Bright lights, immaculate produce displays, wooden crates stacked just so. But the illusion breaks the moment you glance at the price tags. Avocados priced like luxury goods. Chicken breasts that cost more than filet mignon did a decade ago. Almonds so expensive you start questioning your entire life's relationship with nuts. Sprouts didn't suddenly become a worse store. America simply became too poor to shop there. Sprouts built its entire identity on the wellness boom of the 2010s. Organic everything. everything: paleo-friendly snacks, kombucha on tap, grass-fed meats, supplements for every mood and season. It sold the fantasy of clean eating to an upper middle class that actually had the money to indulge it. But the moment grocery bills doubled across the country, that audience evaporated, and what's left now is a store designed for a customer who no longer exists. Sprouts' aisles feel emptier than they used to, not abandoned, just thinner, quieter, slower. The customers who remain aren't filling carts anymore. They're calculating, picking up items, checking the price, sighing, putting them back. Inflation didn't just hit Sprouts, it kneecapped its entire value proposition. The collapse is visible in the little things: end caps filled with products nobody buys, meat counters with smaller cuts and higher prices, produce sections looking less vibrant, less abundant. Employees stretched thin but doing their best to keep up appearances. Sprouts tried to solve the problem by lowering some prices, running more promotions, and adjusting inventory. But you can't adjust your way out of a structural flaw. Sprouts still needs customers willing to spend premium money on premium health food, and those customers are disappearing faster than the kombucha samples they stopped providing. Even worse, Sprouts is trapped between two worlds. Whole Foods outclasses it, Aldi underprices it, Costco outvalues it, Trader Joe's outcharms it, Walmart outscales it. Sprouts isn't the cheapest, it isn't the nicest, it isn't the trendiest, it isn't the most convenient. It's stuck in the dreaded retail middle. The place where grocery chains go to die. Foot traffic is down, sales stagnate, stores quietly underperform, expansion plans freeze, investors start asking nervous questions about sustainability. Sprouts isn't collapsing with drama, no massive bankruptcies, no sudden closures, but with a soft, suffocating decline, a slow erosion of relevance as the wellness economy shrinks into a luxury for the few. In 2017, Sprouts felt like the future of grocery shopping. In 2026, it feels like a relic of a wealthier decade, a beautiful, expensive reminder of a time when Americans believed they could buy their way into health. Next, the Fresh Market, a luxury grocery chain disappearing because luxury is the one thing Americans aren't buying anymore. 3. The Fresh Market, a luxury grocery store in a country that can no longer afford luxury. Walk into the Fresh Market in 2026, and it feels like walking into a boutique grocery museum. Soft lighting, classical music, produce displayed like fine art, cuts of meat arranged with the precision of a watchmaker. Everything about the place whispers refinement, quality, indulgence. But look closer and you notice something else. The aisles feel just a little too quiet, the shelves a little too full, the staff a little too available. Luxury grocery stores don't work when no one can afford luxury anymore, and the Fresh Market is learning that lesson in real time. The chain was designed for an America that lived in a fantasy, a world where middle-class families believed paying extra for French butter and heirloom tomatoes somehow connected them to a better life. But that world evaporated the moment grocery bills became a crisis, and everyday basics started costing as much as specialty goods once did. The Fresh Market runs on the assumption that people are willing to pay more for nicer things, but 2026 America is a place where people hesitate to pay for milk. Inside the store, you can see the decline unfolding quietly. Beautiful displays, untouched. The bakery case, still full at closing. Employees tidying the same shelves over and over. Music, drifting through a space that feels more like a high-end waiting room than a supermarket. The Fresh Market isn't struggling because it did anything wrong. It's struggling because its customers are disappearing. The upper middle class is shrinking. Salaries aren't keeping up with inflation. Mortgages are suffocating. Property taxes are exploding. Retirement savings are evaporating. People who once filled their carts with artisan cheeses and imported chocolates are now price shopping at Aldi and Costco, quietly mourning the reality that bougie groceries have become an unaffordable hobby, and competition isn't helping. Whole Foods already owns the premium market. Trader Joe's sells quirky luxury at discount prices. Local co-ops offer authenticity. Farmers markets attract the wellness crowd. Where does the Fresh Market fit? Nowhere, really. Its stores are too small to compete on price, too expensive to compete for volume, too refined to appeal to younger shoppers, too optional in a country where food budgets have imploded. Behind the scenes, the financial picture is equally grim. Sales flatten, remodel plans freeze, corporate trims staff, stores underperform quietly for years, and the company hangs on by leaning into markets wealthy enough to still pretend the economy isn't burning. But even in those wealthy pockets, the cracks show. Shoppers linger long enough to admire the displays, but leave with only a few items, treating the fresh market like a museum gift shop rather than a full grocery store, a place for small indulgences, not weekly essentials. The fresh market isn't collapsing with the chaos of bankruptcy, it's collapsing with the elegance of a luxury ship slowly drifting off course. Beautiful, calm, and undeniably sinking. Its greatest strength, being an expensive, curated, premium grocery experience, is now its greatest weakness in a country where most people just want groceries that won't bankrupt them next. Food Lion, the regional chain starving slowly as competition, inflation, and demographic shifts squeeze the life out of its stores. 4. Food Lion, the regional giant, slowly starving in the Southeast walk into a Food Lion in 2026, and you feel a different kind of collapse. Not dramatic, not theatrical, but slow, weary, and deeply structural. The store isn't empty, but it isn't alive either. Customers move quietly through the aisles like they're running errands in a building that hasn't been updated since the late 90s. The fluorescent lights buzz overhead. The displays feel flat. The produce section looks like it's trying its best but lost the will to compete sometime around 2017. Food Lion isn't dying all at once. It's starving, shelf by shelf, aisle by aisle, year by year. Once upon a time, Food Lion was the dominant force in the Southeast. It was the no-frills grocery store for working families. Cheap, dependable, everywhere. It could weather recessions, it could handle competition, it could survive scandals and reinventions. But 2026 hit Food Lion with something it can't outrun, an economy that is eroding the very customers it relied on for decades. Inflation hit the rural and suburban South hard. Wages didn't keep up, gas prices drained budgets, property taxes soared, and suddenly the Food Lion shopper, the middle-income family stretching every dollar, had even fewer dollars to stretch. The result is a chain caught in the worst possible position, too outdated to attract younger shoppers, too pricey to compete with Aldi and Walmart, and too slow to adapt to the new era of grocery retail. You can see the struggle everywhere. Aisles with bare spots, coolers that don't stay fully stocked, rotating staff that looks overworked and underpaid, a general feeling that the store is staying open through sheer momentum rather than purpose. Food Lion isn't terrible. That's part of the problem. It's not bad enough to spark outrage, not good enough to inspire loyalty. It simply exists. But existing isn't enough in a retail landscape where customers expect lower prices, better presentation, and more convenience than ever before. Then there's the demographic shift. The Southeast is growing fast, but not with Food Lion's target shopper. Wealthier newcomers flock to Publix and Whole Foods. Budget-stretched families turn to Walmart, Aldi, and Dollar General. Food Lion is left stranded in the shrinking middle, serving a customer base that's economically evaporating. And behind the scenes, the financial pressure mounts. Parent company Del Hayes focuses investment elsewhere. Remodels slow down, hiring freezes spread, underselling stores quietly disappear. Food Lion locations close quietly, one by one, without big announcements or headlines. Buildings get converted into liquidators, carpet stores, or empty husks that sit abandoned for years. And the saddest part? The decline feels inevitable. Food Lion is not collapsing in flames like some retailers. It's collapsing through exhaustion, the slow erosion of a chain that has been running on thin margins and thinner loyalty for far too long. It's the kind of collapse you don't notice right away, until suddenly you do. Until you walk in and realize the store feels like a ghost of itself. Until you drive by and see the sign taken down. Until another community loses another grocery store and slips one step closer to becoming a food desert. Food Lion isn't dying dramatically. It's being quietly starved by a country whose economics no longer support the middle-tier grocery store. Next, Smart and Final, the West Coast hybrid grocer stuck between warehouse clubs, dollar stores, and big box chains, losing ground from every direction. 5. Smart and Final, the West Coast hybrid store losing ground from every direction, walk into a Smart and Final in 2026, and it feels like a store permanently caught between identities, part warehouse club, part traditional grocery. Store, part bargain outlet, part mystery. The aisles stretch long and flat like a Costco that ran out of ambition, while the shelves carry just enough conventional groceries to confuse new customers who thought they were walking into something more specialized. Smart and Final has always been an odd middle child in the retail world, but in 2026, that identity crisis has turned into a collapse. The store feels tired, the lighting is dim, the selection is random, the energy is non-existent. You see huge bulk items sitting next to regular-sized pantry goods, price tags that look like they were printed during the Bush administration, and employees who seem to be doing the work of 3 people because corporate cut hours again. For decades, Smart and Final operated in a comfortable niche, the place where small businesses, restaurants, and large families shopped when they didn't want to pay for a Costco membership. But the world changed, and the niche evaporated. Restaurants started buying from true wholesalers. Families turned to Costco and Sam's Club. Budget shoppers fled to Aldi, Grocery Outlet, and Dollar Tree. Middle-income customers simply stopped existing. Smart and Final became the store people only went to when they had to, not when they wanted to. Inflation hit the chain especially hard. Their business depends on bulk packaged goods, but bulk is only a bargain when people can afford it. With food costs rising faster than wages, customers aren't stocking up anymore. They're buying less, stretching meals, and shopping wherever the weekly ad is cheapest. Smart and Final's half-bulk, half-traditional layout suddenly feels like the worst of both worlds. Inside the store, the decline feels unmistakable. Some shelves look fully stocked, others look like they've been raided. The produce section feels like a reluctant obligation. The freezer aisles look overlit, overstretched, and understocked. And there's a persistent sense that the chain is running out of both inventory and patience. Behind the scenes, the financial bleeding is intense. Ownership changes. Debt loads grow. Expansion halts. Store closures loom. Smart and Final's biggest problem is brutally simple. It is losing to every competitor at the same time. Costco beats it on value, Sam's Club beats it on scale, Walmart beats it on price, Aldi beats it on efficiency, Grocery Outlet beats it on bargain appeal, Dollar Tree and 99 cents only beat it on desperation economics. There is no category in which Smart and Final is winning, or even competing effectively, and the customers feel it. Foot traffic has thinned, carts are emptier. Nobody talks about Smart and Final as their main store anymore. It's the place people drop into because they need a giant jug of ketchup or a case of paper towels and don't want to drive to Costco. It's a chain surviving on leftovers. You can sense the stores slipping, not collapsing overnight, but slowly hollowing out. One fewer employee, one fewer stocked aisle, one more quiet store on the edge of a retail desert. Smart and Final isn't failing because the idea was bad. It's failing because the economy that once supported the idea doesn't exist anymore. The middle ground retailer is vanishing across America, and Smart and Final is simply the next chain getting squeezed out of existence by a country that has split into discount survivors and premium holdouts, leaving nothing in the middle but ghosts with shopping carts.